Matthew, always a pleasure to have you on for your analysis. I mean, if there were to be a ban on the Russian energy sector from the West, surely it couldn't happen anytime soon.
Well, there's strong political momentum right now in Washington on both sides of the political aisle, Democrats and Republicans, to do something, to do something more to punish Russia in the hope that that will stop its invasion of Ukraine. So, if these congressional leaders have their way, the ban would happen quickly. However, as you've been reporting, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz publicly has come out against any such ban. So we're in limbo right now. But if the U.S. could act the way the Congress wishes it to, I think it would be a quick ban on oil.
Well, obviously, in the build-up to what started towards the end of February, so we're now into a 13th day of fighting, there was a lot of talk about how possible it would be to do this quickly. And it seems to have been decided because, especially if the EU's dependency on Russian gas especially, the countries would have to step in to make up that shortfall. We had the Emir of Qatar in Washington who said, yes, we can supply a certain amount, but we can't make up the shortfall. Surely for the EU, it's a much bigger issue than it is for the United States. And everybody understands the equation about how Moscow, you could even say, is paying for this military campaign, this attack on Ukraine with European money. $1 billion a day the EU is paying Russia.
Yeah, and I think that fact, Adnan, is what is driving the debate in Washington. People see that as the oil price goes up in the short term, Russia has more revenues to prosecute them. So you also touched on another crucial point, which is, the U.S. only gets about 3% of its oil from Russia. The U.S. needs heavy oil for its Gulf Coast refineries that either comes from Venezuela or from Russia. There's a ban on oil coming from Venezuela right now. So the U.S. has turned to Russia, or U.S. companies have turned to Russia. However, there are negotiations ongoing right now between senior level officials in the Biden administration and the government of Venezuela, with the goal being to turn on those oil flows again from Venezuela. So the U.S. is trying to shield itself, but the Europeans are really worried about the short-term disruptive consequences of the oil shutoff, which, as you suggested, will be difficult to overcome, but doable. Oil is fungible. You can put it on a tanker, and it can get to markets anywhere in the world. Natural gas is more difficult because Europe receives it largely via pipeline. Yes, you can liquefy natural gas, and that market is growing, but liquefied natural gas on the immediate spot market is much more expensive, of course, than pipe gas that's coming to Germany through long-term contracts.
Yeah, and just a few months ago, we learned that wholesale gas prices for European companies are around 200% higher than they had been just 12 months earlier. So already domestic consumers are feeling the hit all across the European Union. I mean, with your work at the Global Energy Center at the Atlantic Council, you've also been an ambassador for the United States. When you've been observing the EU's increasing dependency on Russian gas over the past 10, 20 years, surely you must have been thinking, hold on, this is a problem, a potential problem in the making, and here we are today. It's a problem.
Hugely, Adnan. So I got introduced to this whole part of the world, and I live in Istanbul today because back in the late 1990s, then President Bill Clinton decided that the U.S. would make a big push to cooperate with Turkey, Georgia, and Azerbaijan to help Europe diversify its supplies of oil and gas by relying on oil and gas coming from the Caspian Sea. And initially, the European Union was so resistant. I remember talking to the Deputy Minister of Economy in Berlin. This was in around 2007. And he politely showed me the door to his office saying, this is really not the Americans' business. This is our European business. Thank you very much for your opinion. But as time went on, the European Union did wake up. And since 2009 or so, it has been taking steps to reduce its dependence on Russian natural gas. The real weak link has been Germany, because Germany is so intertwined in terms of business with Russia. And Germany has decided to make itself more dependent than many other European countries on Russian gas. So that's what's playing out right now. Germany is worried about losing that natural gas supply. But to be fair, Chancellor Olaf Scholz did something nobody expected. I certainly didn't. When a week ago on Saturday, he announced that Germany would suspend and probably kill the Nord Stream 2 natural gas pipeline, the big pipeline, second pipeline under the Baltic Sea that connects Russia and Germany directly and bypasses Ukraine. To do that, he showed great courage in going against entrenched business interests in Germany. And so Germany's trying to figure out how do we impose penalties on Russia without totally disrupting the German and the EU economy, while the U.S. is saying, "Come on, Europe, you've got to take more of a hit by cutting off Russian energy flows because we're going to take a hit as well." Interesting transatlantic debate playing itself out right now.
Yeah, and a very complicated calculation, clearly. Matthew, I thanked you at the beginning. I'll thank you again. Matthew Bryza speaking to us from Istanbul. Take care.